Ninja! Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Welcome everybody to our daily gun show. Come be live every weeknight at midnight Eastern, and we talk about guns for an hour. And it is Friday. It is episode number 1125, I think. Double check on that. And we've been doing the show for a while, so lately it has become a place for conversation. So if you want to be part of that conversation, welcome. And let's see, got a couple of things we're going to be doing tonight. Let's see, Woods is out there, Barbecue's out there, Chris is out there. Good evening. I'll probably just screen share, I guess. So we'll see if anybody's got any topics today to talk about. DTP's out there. I guess I'll try dropping a link, see what happens. This is working, yeah, it's got my meet's not on, so we'll bring it up to the full screen there. And I guess we'll start with Carrie. So yeah, I guess we'll go look at the calendar. Nobody's going to jump in, so we'll go over and look at the calendar. Woods is driving right now. Let's see, so it's July 11th. I don't have anything on the calendar, so pretty boring. If you know anything, if you know of anything, let me know. I think it's something dumb like pecan ice cream day or something dumb like that. Something good. All right, so I was grabbing that picture, going back over to this layer, gonna paste that down. Crop this. Have I already done Carrie? I don't know. So now we'll go apply and go over just a little bit. Pop open one of these other heads. Try to get it about the same size. At least that's how I do it. And it's probably a little bit big still. All right, so get it about the same size, then I can get rid of that one. Where am I going to go look? I guess I could take his name. And go search one of my hard drives. So in Windows, you can just put the name you're looking for over here and point it at one of your hard drives, and it'll just search and see if you got a file over there with that name. So I'm going to do that real quick, because for some reason I think I'd already done this one, but I guess not. I'm just working this one, playing video games or something. It's not really working. I don't think anybody who watches video games is going to be watching this show ever. Let's see. So I'll just drop that down. Oops. Drop that down with this number over like 50-ish. This. What's going on? Now I gotta do this. Add a couple of layers. Just see. You may now. Yeah, you never know. Sometimes these Friday night shows are pretty good. People jump in and we chat. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing to listen to over here. I got nothing to entertain you with or nothing. We did pretty good with the project. Up to 33%. I'm just going to guess. I don't remember exactly how the top of his head went, but I don't think too many people are going to care. That's pretty tough. Pretty tough. I didn't throttle my mouse down, so this is actually pretty tough to stay smooth right here. And I don't know if it's always a good idea to go this far into such a curvy design, especially one that's supposed to be symmetrical. Wow, that was risky. That was risky. Came out all right, but that was risky. I shouldn't have done that. I'm not yelling about nothing now. Let's see. Bought a Black Aces Tactical Mini today. I don't know what that is. We got Outlaw, the Shockwave style guns. Shockwave. So that's some sort of a pistol brace. How much longer? We're talking about the 2A patch? It's still got about 2 weeks, I think, 16 days. I'm saying 2 weeks because close enough. So let's see, 16 days would be 2 weekends still. So there's still plenty of time. But it went up from 10% to 30% today. That's pretty good. And that could have been from just Liberty Doll or it's hard to say, but everybody's got tracking links now, so we'll be able to find out. I don't know if I like that or not. And then a little bit of that, and a little bit of that. Let's see. I want to go down like this. And then I don't know if I like this one. So let's see. Something like this. Neck, kind of around like this to a collar. Around like this to a collar. I don't remember, something like that. And like that. Okay, get rid of this one. Move it up a little bit. Let's get rid of this. Something doesn't look right. I think it's right in here. I think the top of his head doesn't look right. So I'm going to do this one again. It looked a little goofy, weird, like he didn't have hair or something, maybe. Tried doing that with budget. Here's barbecue. Haven't heard anything about them scrutinize the shockwave style firearms. What did they? That was something about like a leak or something, right? That somebody had said about the ATF. I don't think anyone ever heard anything else about that. That could just be one more attempt to freak people out, piss people off, get people discouraged, and spin us off in directions. You know, for a long time, there was the idea that they'd, or I used to say that they could depend on gun owners whenever there was atrocity. They could come up and just abuse gun owners, and everyone would congratulate them. I think now they've figured out a new strategy that they can just make it so that everybody gives up. taking a piece of metal, bend it back and forth until it just quits. Sure, I don't remember when that was either. Maybe you're trying to put a link in or something. So how's it going, barbecue?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Yeah.
How's the temperature there? Pretty decent for you, or is it hotter than balls?
No, it's not good right now. It's probably 97 right now, but it'll be down to 80 tonight, and then it'll be up to 114 here one of these days. So it's like 110 to 114 right now for the next while, and then it'll come down to like 107 for a little while. It's going to be shitty for a while. July and August are the worst.
Yeah, August, at least around here, August seems to be the worst for us, but I think they're actually calling for triple digits next week here, which doesn't happen very often. It's going to be absolutely miserable, especially because we get the humidity on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where, it's bad or whatever, but we're used to it because it happens every year. Something about you guys had some kind of sandstorm. The rest of the country had some kind of sandstorm. I imagine that might mess with stuff.
Oh, yeah, from the Sahara Desert or something that floated across the Atlantic, which everybody's making a big deal about it, but it happens every year. And I think it actually can be a sign of, depending on how good or bad that sandstorm ends up being, can be a sign on how the hurricane season is going to be. So,
well, that makes sense. And that's what I'm thinking too. Is it's just a lot of the stuff that we're hearing about is regular stuff that just happens once in a while or every year or whatever. And it's just that now it's kind of cool to go, oh, look at another thing. Oh, look at another thing. Where normally people are more worried about the Iron Man sequel or whatever other thing they're worried about.
yeah, everybody's cooped up. They don't have anything to pay attention to. And then you just got all the fear mongering going on of, hey, look at this, there's this disease and there's that disease. And like, I remember NEA and Hasty Headlines had read something about a brain eating amoeba that was found in Florida. And I'm like, well, that's wonderful. And, there's something, but I'm almost wondering, like, is this brain eating amoeba something new, or is it just something that popped up? Because, like, the rest of the country may not realize, but every year Lake Erie up in Erie, PA has beaches shut down for E. coli outbreaks. But if they put that on national news right now, they'd be like, oh my God, there's E. coli in Lake Erie.
Right. And right now it's just cool to, go, oh, look, another thing. And it's effective for them to just keep, look there, look over there, look over there, look over there. Look over there. Look over there. Trump's back. Look over there. Look over there. Trump's back. Look over there. What the hell was I listening to earlier? Somebody was saying that they don't think there's going to be any problem. I don't get it. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I guess we're started on there. Weather?
Yeah, I asked how the temperature was for you.
The sandstorm. Let's see.
So I came in just a few minutes late. Who are we drawing today?
This is Kerry. So he is a blind dude that wrote a book because he's got, I forget how many CCWs now. He's got a whole bunch of CCW permits. And then wrote a book because a couple of things. Like the TV came over and did like an interview of him. It made him look like a dick, or like a weirdo. And then that got him to be like, I don't know, to kind of like write a book to let people, like other blind people perhaps, know they don't get taken advantage of or something. Maybe. I don't know.
So I have to look into him more.
Well, yeah. And then I don't know about his actual situation because I don't remember. But I know he was why he's got a vision issue or what, but I don't remember, like, say the specifics. But he was all into hunting. I don't know why this thing is doing this. Oh, I know why. No. So one of the things is that, what was it about a dog? Something about his dog. Somebody mean to his dog? I can't remember now that I'm thinking about it. I never actually read the book. I just met him at Gun Rights Policy in Chicago in 19, I guess, and did a quick interview with him. And then I never did get his book.
Do you have any idea of the name of the book? I'd like to see if there's a
I think it's just
audio
called Blind
version of it.
Shooter. I'll find it. I think it's just called Blind Shooter.
I'll have to talk to Patriot in the Dark, see if he's heard of him either.
Yeah. I guess I could just go to the one I was already on and go to. Well, I'll just run the interview for you right here. Eventually.
We're here at the Gun Rights Policy Conference, and we're talking to Carrie McWilliams. And you're an author of 2 books now. I'm looking at those. Your first book was Guide Dogs and Guns. Unfortunately, you said that's no longer in print.
No, it's a Library of Congress book now, so you can get that on Talking Books for the line, but it's currently printed on Amazon.
Okay, but we can find the copy on used, right? It's out there.
Yes,
You can
it's
find
out
it.
there. If you look it up,
Can you hear it?
it's out there available in audio.
Right on it.
Yeah, I can hear it really well.
And that's more of an autobiography, and you talk about your experiences with being a shooter and with the guide dogs, and then you've had some experience with some publicity, and that you described that in that book as well.
Yep, I had to describe the way I was originally treated by the mainstream media, which I was caught off guard to begin with. First interview was with Brian Gumbel, and I talked about that in the book. How they asked me a series of questions, and then they didn't use any of them. Try to ambush me, and kind of halfway through the interview, people told me that they were watching it, and I could tell on my face, "Oh, that's what you're trying to do," you know. And
And it came clear with the cameras rolling.
Well, yeah, because I wasn't used to that kind of attention. So when I got that kind of thing, I thought it would be a little bit forward. So.
I've looked at the book before, and I've thumbed through it. It's really interesting. You talk about your experiences with the guide dogs also. That's pretty neat stuff.
I talk about how, see, the thing is that a lot of people, and that's what they also talking about in the new book, try to clarify it, is that everybody thinks, well, because you have a guide dog, therefore they will protect you, people leave you alone. Well, that has a lot of misconceptions. A guide dog is meant to be docile in public. It's not meant to be aggressive, otherwise you wouldn't be able to have it. I mean, if people get eaten by guide dogs, all of a sudden they'd be illegal. Yeah,
Exactly. They'd be bandling everything else.
right. I heard of a woman in Minneapolis, I think it was. She was assaulted and raped in front of a guide dog.
Yeah.
So they're meant to be just basically there to work, and if they think of it as a deterrent, fine, but in practice,
For practical use, as someone who could be potentially a higher target, then this you wanted to explain that to people, in both communities, that misconception.
well, and when I came out with the Guide Dogs and Guns, I did it with real push because I was dealing with a civil rights issue in Minnesota where I had passed a shooting test, and I was supposed to get a gun permit there, and it was denied by a sheriff who was up for re-election that year. And I didn't feel like anybody knew the true story because they were getting half-baked information. So that's why I wrote the original one.
I'm glad you did.
You know, you got some people thinking that stuff. And that was it.
And that's what I really like about the Gun Rights Policy Conference is we get to see some different things that we're not used to and learn about different areas of the Second Amendment and the struggle to have the rights for all these different.
Well, I mean, blind people are blind people first. We're Americans first, and
Exactly.
we do require protection, and we need to be able to defend ourselves. Because throwing blind people to the wolves might look okay because hey, there's only a set amount of us, but what happens when they start taking gun rights away from people who are deaf, people who are older, people who have
Arthritis.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, that's not wrong. So,
And I'm glad you wrote the first one because it got you practice to write the second one, which is out now. Shooting guide for the blind. I've been thumbing through this one now. You've got all kinds of information. How many CCWs do you have?
I have currently 5.
Right on. Now these aren't because you need them. You don't live in Rhode Island. This is because you've sought them out.
Right, and the one they made North Dakota kind of well after I did it. Some politicians used it to get rid of the shooting part, which I didn't approve of because I think you should know at least what the trigger is. And
now when we're talking, is it?
Did you hear that? They got rid of the shooting requirement for their CCW based on him. So I think that's kind of cool, even though he don't like it.
Isn't it like a figurative license? You get your CCW just like everybody else, and you take the shooting test, and you're able to shoot. So it's more than just like, I've got it as a credential. You've got it because you carry, and because you want to let people know that it's possible for.
Correct. It's kind of hard to believe, but there's I took photocopies of some of my shooting documentation from the United States Army. I've been completely blind since age 10. Lost my eyesight suddenly, really hours. And then at age 15, I picked up my first firearm, which was a fully automatic M16 at an Army base, and they let me shoot it. Gave me some instruction on it. This is how we're reassembled and all that stuff. We're the cadets. We're going into the military. In fact, what I did back then in the Air Force Auxiliary is I ran the wheel radius, so I guided planes into targets on the ground. Kind of like that, just by relaying what somebody told me on the map to them. I was the only one who did radio license from the Air Force, so basically that's what I did. And took that gun training and gun experience of the M16 and took another ROTC course in college for this marksmanship. And I got documentation in that as well of that. On my transcript, I got an A in that. And I had several shooting exams with various pistols at various ranges. So,
And then you've done extensive hunting as well. You document that in there.
I got where I talk about how to hunt ducks, deer, various game, and then how to dress them, and the rules, regulations about game fish. Some of the stuff that people may or may not know about hunting, tracking, and so forth, being in mind.
And that's where, say, you put that spin on it. You let other blind people know about your path and some tips.
Well, I basically, since I got this whole thing started with the consent weapons program stuff, and I've gotten so much attention worldwide. Basically, I'm not an egotist. I don't want that, but basically, I think it's my mission and responsibility to educate not only blind people about what they're capable of doing. They have the mental faculties, of course.
Sure.
And also to educate those who are blind or not sighted, who might be not being able to figure this out or confused, or maybe just they have somebody that they know is blind, but they don't know how to go about getting them out hunting and doing their stuff.
So, and I can only imagine that must be liberating to have that experience and then to have that under your belt that you've been able to go hunting. Like the first time you get to go hunting and have a successful hunt and experience it.
Well, I basically like bird hunting, but I also like hunting dangerous game. I hunt the bears and the alligators and mountains. And I would love to get to Africa and hunt some of the African game if I could. There's an outfitter that I'm looking at It's crocodiles on the Nile.
Oh, wow.
And I have to hit a quarter-size kill spot at 100 yards on the gator's head, on the crocodile's head. And from a sitting position, so with a 375 age. So
that'd be tough just on a regular on the range.
Yeah, exactly. But I've taken it down game further. I hunted with the CEO of Savage Arms for antelope in Wyoming, and from a parked vehicle, I shot an antelope. Had 156 yards. He went nowhere. It went in his shoulder and out his rear end, and the guy that was dressing him said there were no major organs remaining, so he never even felt it. So it was so funny to watch that guy, the CEO guy. When I did it, he goes straight down. We had a reporter in the car, and this was related in an article called "On Sports for Life" and stuff. And it was really funny how how the guy reacted to that shot, because he didn't know I was going to be able to do that or nothing. So it was kind of neat to see.
Very cool. So I appreciate you taking the time away from the conference. We should go back in and listen, but I did have one more question about the cover of the Guide Dogs and Guns book. For an AK guy, so I'm looking at this, and what's going on with that bayonet? Is it a Photoshop thing, or?
Nope, that's real.
So you modified an AK bayonet?
Nope, that was an AK that I had at the time that had a variant bayonet from, I think it was what is it called? It started.
Oh, so it's a third-party company.
Yeah, it's a third-party company.
Oh,
But,
I was wondering, the shape of the blade looked a little bit different, and I thought maybe it had.
And it had a folding stock too.
Right, it had looked like it had a folder on it.
Yeah, so it was my gun at the time, and traded it in for a different gun. I think I traded it in for the AR-15. And basically I thought, well, I was in my mom has passed on. I have no living parents now. But I was sitting in her dining room, and I asked them if they could crop because it should show me kind of leaning back sort of with this thing.
Exactly.
And that's because I was sitting on a stool.
Oh, okay.
And I had them Photoshop take that out of there.
Okay.
And just transform the pictures of me, the cane, and the gun. So, in the background. That was kind of my design idea of being blind. I used to paint houses for a living.
Okay.
So being blind, it was kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm used to dealing with very traditionally sighted stuff. So.
Well, it's an inspiration. I'm going to put my hand out and shake your hand.
Well, thank you very
Thanks
much.
for taking the time again, and thanks for writing the books.
Appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, it's my job to educate. That's basically what I do.
Right on. Thanks again.
Guys and gals, I've got a website done.
Yeah, so that's 4 minutes with them.
That's awesome.
So I guess, yeah, that was the thing that I didn't, because I just kind of read through the book there. I had talked to a dude he was with and said, hey, can you ask him if we can sneak off and do an interview during whatever he's, was boring over here. And there was plenty of stuff that's boring during the conference or whatever. So whatever it was, he's like, yeah, let's book out now. So we went over and did that. And that's how much time I had to check out his book or whatever. And so I'm just reading the dust covers and, thumbing around. But that part about the dogs freaked me out. I never even thought about it, but I just sort of assumed since, somebody's got a dog with them that they're a little more prepared or whatever, secure than without a dog. But I never thought about that they're not guard dogs, they're guide dogs. And, well, obviously I don't need to repeat all that, but that was I didn't even think about that before I had talked to him.
Well, one of the other things I was just thinking about, which whenever I find his book and get into that I've never thought about before, because I'm still new to the whole being blind and being a shooter thing, because I've only lost my sight 2 years ago. And I've never thought about, people that have guide dogs and say they go to the range or something, having to train that dog to not be gun shy or things like that, or do they have to leave the dog at home because they can't get the dog trained for those things? And then That's just a dynamic I never thought about.
Yeah, my experience, it's just some dogs hate it. You know, some dogs can handle it. Some dogs can't handle noises at all.
Yeah, like my dogs, I've got a coon hound, which everybody's like, coon hounds are great for hunting, which they are, but mine would not be a hunter at all. Thunder goes off during a thunderstorm, and he's sitting on my head.
So this is Logan from High Caliber History. These are always weird when I know people. So this looks horrible, but there's nothing I can do. I'm not an artist, so I'm just doing it. I'm just cheap. I don't have to pay for all this. So that's what people get. And if they don't like it, then I'm guessing I don't care if they want to go hire like some professional cartoonist, and then I'll swap the pictures out. But I just do the same techniques as I do for everybody else. It's just that when I know them, it's obvious that my technique isn't very good. What I'm saying is Charlie was like that. What do you mean was? Play music. Dog's been cured, can't wait. What am I doing here? I guess I'm doing. I was going to do this.
So I got my order from last week today in the mail, or no, it was last night in the mail, I should say. And my daughter is absolutely in love with the giant AK-47 patch. So I took it out, and she sees it, and she's like, "That's a Hungarian assault rifle." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "It's a Hungarian assault rifle." I was like, "Where in the world did you ever hear those words together?" And have you heard of the game Fortnite, G?
Is that a video game?
Yeah. Apparently, she's been playing that game, and there's all sorts of guns and stuff in it. I was like, I guess I can kind of get behind you playing this thing. I thought it was just a game that, because I asked her, "What's it about?" And she's like, "I don't know. You just run around and do things, and then like your character dances." I'm like, "Well, that sounds idiotic." I mean, just because there's no point to it. And I'm like, if you're having fun, you're having fun. But then I was like, well, she's learned about guns from it. That's kind of neat.
Oh, sorry, I'm Instagram with somebody. Yeah, I didn't like to hear that news over there. I thought he was going to say some wise Alex shit. So hopefully, I don't know, nothing to say about that. All right, I'm back. I was listening, or I was like, say I was Instagramming and distracted there. I guess this cord is going to take a crap. When it's 94, you got to have basically every fan going on every electronic device because there's no colder air to blow past anything, so everything overheats. This cord is broken. How long do your charging cords last? On average.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I try and take really good care of them. Like you talked about for like my phone. I would like to think at least a year before it depends on how good the connector is that they put in there too and things like that. But I try and really make sure that the cord where it starts to go into the connector and stuff doesn't get boogered up. But one thing I did find, those chargers where you put the piece in and then it's magnetic, those last really well because
I think
if there's any stress on them, it just disconnects rather than damaging the cord.
Yeah, I need to get something like that. How much was that?
Let me go look around and see what I can't find. But last time when I had found them, I think it was a 4-pack for like $20.
And then you just put that like in 3 phones or something.
Yeah. And I figured, well, that's $5 a cord. Is like, that's better than what I'm finding, when I'm at the grocery store. I'm like, oh, hey, I need to pick up a new cord. And, but that was years ago too. So I don't know if they've gone up or anything.
Yeah, but if that was years ago, I need to look around. Then maybe the dollar store has them, and I'm just not looking for them. Because if they were $5, then the dollar store will have something.
Yeah, I'd even think about the dollar store,
or at least some store. I thought they were like a item or some shit. Then I wouldn't see them at a discount store. Maybe.
So what kind of charger do you have? Do you have one of those USB-C chargers now, or do you have the regular micro USB, or are you on a Apple device?
No, I got a regular Android, whatever.
The old one. Oh, okay.
Trapezoid or whatever. I don't know what it is. I just look at it. The right one. It has an up and down. It has a trapezoid, not like a round.
Yeah. My last one I had for like 3.5 years, and the battery was finally just shot in it, so I finally upgraded. And the phone I got takes that new USB-C adapter.
Or one, both either way. You can just jam it in either way.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like the way to go.
It does, except the other end where you would normally plug in the USB into the wall charger. Well, they made that for my charger for the phone. They made that USB-C also. So if I want to get an aftermarket cord that's compatible with that, I've got to try and find one that actually has 2 USB-C ends and not just a USB end on the one end. So they kind of got me there. And the other thing that kind of annoys me is with these new phones now, they're trying to eliminate all the other ports and everything. So there's no headphone jack. So now if I want to listen to music with headphones, I've got to use headphones that have a USB-C end on them. Which, when you bought the phone, it came with headphones like that, but I don't like earbuds. And then when I was trying to find headphones to do the live chats and things like that, everything came with a 3.5 millimeter jack. So then I had to go get an adapter for the 3.5 millimeter jack to the USB-C, which wasn't a huge deal, but nonetheless, it's still an extra thing I had to buy.
Yeah, I'm not really looking forward. I think I looked the last time I went over and was looking at my phone plan or whatever. Like, they want to give me a phone. I can get a phone if I don't remember, pay them $400 or like whatever, $10 a month or something forever, like until it costs $7,000. So I briefly thought about it, but that's one of the reasons I didn't bother, because I didn't want to start getting into a big hassle with new chargers. right now the charger I have works for like my batteries, like the whatever you call them, just batteries that I carry around to charge my phone, basically. And
Like
Yeah.
the power packs to go
Yeah.
or whatever.
shit, yeah, exactly. And then, I don't know, like lights and stuff. Like I have a couple of different things, I guess, that use that, like little fans and stupid shit, stuff that uses that form factor for charging. So I don't want a phone that uses some other form factor, like I didn't like intentionally get these things. They've just been using that type of USB for a while, I guess.
Yep. I'm kind of curious why they changed it, but
Because they needed to do more stuff.
yeah. Then I heard, a month or two ago, the European Union had actually made a law where all devices were going to have the same charging thing. Which on one hand I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. On the other hand, I'm like, I don't like the government making laws like that. If somebody wants to have something proprietary, they're the one that's making the device. Let them should be proprietary.
That seems kind of odd. Where was that suggested?
I heard it was the European Union. I don't know why I cannot say that right now.
Well, that's probably because of their weird tubes and shit are all broken over there and weird and left-handed or whatever. Metric. You can't even plug shit in over there, from what I understand.
Oh, I know.
Television or hair dryer or something. You got to have like this big, like, erector set full of plugs and shit, and then it can kill you. From what I understand.
Yeah, it's goofy.
You'll die.
I'm gonna have to ask Rick about that tomorrow in his chat. Be like, Rick, so what's it like plugging stuff in over there? So you said the gun rights policy conference is in September, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, are they going to keep it in September for the following years, or are they going to move it back to the regular time slot or month or whatever you want to call it?
No, it's always been in September for 34 years.
Oh, it's always been September? I thought it was earlier in the year. I thought it just got pushed to September because of the COVID stuff.
No, the only thing that got pushed that I know of was Blade Show. Also got pushed to September. The policy will be in September 18th.
Your mic is being funny again.
No, I just yawned. It'll be September 18th through the 20th.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I wonder if Honda will even talk about it. He probably won't because he's a coward and he doesn't talk about real conspiracies. But I don't know what Bob's talking about there. But did you see the thing about the European drug smuggling phone things that brought in freaking billions of dollars in drugs and money and weapons?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Of course not, because I don't want people to think about anything.
Honda's dropping the ball. First he corks you tonight, and then he can't even cover real conspiracies.
Android headlines. I don't know what good news would be. Fox News, probably not. Politico.eu. Is that legit news? Is that good news source? It has to be. Look at these guys. These are French police. They got to know what's going on. So French, Dutch leave massive sting. This is from the 2nd to this month. So this is on Every Second Matters. This is what they did in Europe for Every Second Matters. France and Netherlands led this thing on these telephones that drug dealers were using. Well, actually, all kinds of criminals were using them. And the Dutch were like, yeah, no worries. They rolled up their sleeves, probably threw some AI at it and broke their encryption, and then took over they just took it over, and then they basically ran it for a while, and then they just ran all the bad guys right into the cops. So they just arranged whatever meetings they needed when they wanted to, and they just started grabbing people. So sent message to users, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I'm trying to find the numbers. This is a shitty news source, obviously.
I don't know. Is it just me, or does that kind of sound like entrapment? I mean, I don't know if they got any laws like that over there, but
It's not
if that would have happened here.
No, they just, cops blew into their bullshit, like, criminal telephone racket thing. Okay, so 746 suspects. Is this, yeah, July, just 1 second. So this started in 2017, and then platform used by 60,000 criminals. Blah, blah, blah. So they arrest 746 suspects. They seize more than 54 million pounds of cash.
Wow.
$68 million in cash. Oh, pounds like stupid euros. I was thinking weight, dumbass Europeans. So $68 million in cash, 77 firearms, which is a lot for Europe, and 2 tons of drugs. And that's, I think, just Britain, because I've seen different numbers and they're massive. They'll be like,
That's
this
insane.
from this place. So here's the Dutch one. 100 suspects, seizure of 17,000 pounds of cocaine, 2,000 pounds of crystal meth, and dismantling 19 synthetic drug labs and seizure of dozens of firearms. And that's the Dutch. So the one thing I was looking at was like, just kept listing countries. So they basically like just, yeah, they took out tons of criminals, tons of them. And
Yeah,
I don't know
that's crazy.
why it's not coming up. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. I don't know why that's not coming up on any news anywhere. Like nobody's even talking about it.
Well, there's nothing to be fearful of there. There's no profit for the media to make on it. And 68 million pounds, wouldn't that be pushing $100 million American?
It's head right there. 68 million American. 68 million American, 54 million pounds.
Oh, okay. Oh, I
Sorry.
didn't realize the exchange rate had gotten that close again. Anyways,
Pretty close. We're just a
I'm
little
gonna say last I had heard it was like 70 cents on the dollar, but that's a lot closer again. That's nice.
All right, I need to get into all kinds of European international news. Anyway, I thought that's maybe what Bob was talking about when he was putting this whole thing up about no phone, no auto tracking stuff, but I don't know what he's saying. Unless he's just having trouble connecting. Well, look, we're down to 1 viewer because we brought up a real news issue, unlike Honda on Sundays. And that made people run away because they couldn't handle it. Not even Barbecue was watching this show, just me. It's just me.
That's right.
Myself. Let's see. So now we're going back to Greg Pruitt, who is Idaho Second Amendment Alliance, and I don't think I have that dude in here. So I'm going back over to Madman University. So it doesn't matter if I go in or not, and then I'm going to just type in his name over here. I will type in his name. Me. So Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. I think that is one of the groups that's in this like 4-state thing. Let's find out. Affiliations. Yeah, see, I think they're in this sort of group, which I don't get yet. I don't understand it. You see how their logos are all the same? They're somehow connected to each other, and they're all linked like this to each other.
It'd honestly make a really cool group of patches to collect if they were doing any patches.
I don't know. They didn't think about patches when they're doing it. There's too many fades. You can't use a gradient like this and expect to really print that or whatever. Can't sew that for sure. You know, very few materials can be, and so that's just, they weren't thinking of that. But obviously there's some consistency. They all have I guess they all have almost the same AR and flintlock and Kentucky rifle. Actually, they all do, except for this one. There's 2 yards already, and for some reason I don't know what they did here. But see, the other thing is, there's already Georgia Carry. What is it called? Yeah, Georgia Carry. And then there's definitely, the Buckeye Firearms Association. So, I don't know what's going on with that. Minnesota Gun Rights. It doesn't click on that. But Minnesota Gun Rights, there's MNGO. I don't know. I guess that might be the same one. GO. Gun Owners. No, the other one is Minnesota Gun Owners. So there's already Minnesota Gun Owners. So that's where, just because I see this page doesn't mean nothing, especially when they're not links. But anyway, so that's where I wasn't sure what this one is. Obviously, they got some idea in mind, but it hasn't been thrashed out or whatever yet. But the thing is, this isn't yesterday. This has been like this for a long time now. So just not sure. So I've never talked to this guy. But that's who we're talking to, is this guy, Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. Let's see. He would probably be under notice. President Greg Pruitt. Richard Cheney. So in 12, this guy saw an issue with the way Idaho politicians continually talked about being pro-2A, but didn't do nothing about passing bills. So rather than trying to work through the national gun groups to fight for what Idaho citizens wanted, he decided to start his own group run by Idahoans for Idahoans. They use potatoes. And then all the money raised would be used to buy potatoes and defend Idaho gun rights. One of the primary objectives of the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance was to pass what is commonly called constitutional carry. So that was in 12. And then first few years, tried to work within the system. 15, 16, will not stand for any more compromise and will demand. Right on. So become part of this fast growing and effective. So it's weird. I think he cut it off. He just posted a picture about him cutting all that stuff off, I thought.
That is unfortunate.
A lot of them Canadians will grow their beards all winter because of, they have to because of the elements or whatever. And then in the summer, when they want to mate, they have to shave all that stuff off to find the Canadian women. So,
I never understood what it's like to mate with a hockey stick. And say if anybody in Canada could fill me in on that, I'd appreciate it.
Canadian women are all right. So then I guess they just quit. They shave once, and then by around that time the next year, they're back to having big beards. Anyhow, so this is the right guy, but I did not put him in here. So I don't know why I put him in here. I think I put people in here who I didn't know just so that we have more people in here, so that it would be inclusive. But the other thing is, I don't know if this guy shows up to things like gun rights policy, and when people don't show up to something like gun rights policy, is it because they hate guns or they just hate the Second Amendment? Or is it because they can't afford it? Or is it because they don't know about it? Or is it a little bit of all of that? You know what I mean? So, it's just different than somebody who is, whatever, book or like has talked about all that stuff in places.
I'm gonna say my excuse this year will definitely be funds, probably, but I'm hoping to save up the money for next year and hopefully go to it.
Yeah, well, you're just a regular person. This guy is representing an organization, and I'm guessing his membership and people that are expecting or paid for, or whatever. But like, he's not just a regular dude talking about maybe I'll go. He's like, let me have some of your money and trust, and I'll run this organization that's gonna. Oh, that's not good. So I guess the other thing is I have to go find some interviews or something from him. I can't remember seeing any interviews or anything. And that's the other thing is just because you don't see interviews of them, I don't know, like on a blog or on somebody's podcast or something. Maybe somebody like Riding Shotgun with Charlie, who's probably interviewed 74 or some people. He doesn't interview everybody, so just because he isn't on Charlie's thing doesn't mean anything really. It just makes it like another layer you gotta figure out who he is. But I haven't listened to every radio show or nothing, so maybe he's some dude that talks on radios all the time. Or he writes all the time. There's people like that. Writers. Oh man, let's see, I went way too long on that one.
I still think that's one of the problems with our with the 2A community in general is awareness, though. For the longest time, until I started getting into watching all the different YouTube channels and things like that, I had no idea that there were gun rallies, down at my state capitol. And until I started watching you, I had no idea about gun rights policy conference and things like that. Obviously, like you said, this guy is somebody that should be aware of these things, but just talking about the everyday people, when I talk to people, I find that awareness is not our strong suit.
Yeah, well, normally it's not necessary. Normally we get attacked when there's an atrocity, and then it's a talking point or whatever in an election. But normally it's not a big deal, So people ain't gonna put much effort in it. I don't know if I need that line. Well, no, there's only 2 people, so you never know. Sometimes people jump in and we have a big long conversation about stuff, and then other times we don't.
Yeah, I'm trying to bounce back and forth and just try and keep my number there, but for some reason, every time I go to do the what they call it, picture-in-picture, where the YouTube would actually just appear over my browser that I have StreamYard open in, it just keeps dropping it the whole way down, and it's not there. So I keep having to go back and forth. But sometimes when I would do that before, it would bump me out of StreamYard. So I'm like, shit.
somewhere there is a way to tell eyedropper stroke. When it picks up and applies. Double click and adjust when it picks up. Double click. Suckers. So now I can go to, there we go, 3x3 average. Sons of bitches. It took forever. So now, bright color over here. Now I like that. Now it's doing not just taking a pinpoint, but it's taking an average of 3x3 pixels. Much better. Much better. Now I can go over here and try grabbing skin. Oh yeah, look at that. It's almost not even gray and shit. Last time I was doing it, it was all gray. Too bad I did this 130. I figured that out 130 cartoons in. So everybody else has shitty color. Oh well. That's why I'm not a professional.
So how many people do you have on the list to be made into a cartoon?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I'm going to go in here and make some sort of like this, I guess. And then around, and then up there, there, and then over here, and shit out of there. Oh, pretty close. Close enough for government work. And then you just do sort of boom, 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 and across. And now when I go to pull this eyedropper, it's going to pull 3x3. Bam, first shot. Perfect color grab. That made life a lot easier right there. Boom. So boom, and click that, lock that out of there. Big gaps in it. So now I'm going to still go back and fix his face because his face looks purple or something. And we'll try this again. Looking for a pinky area. That's a little more pinky. And then, oh yeah, we'll fix everything again. So there's big gaps everywhere. Let's figure out what the fuck's going on with that. Go over here and grab individual things, probably because I went around spaz real fast. Actually, it can be really big because everything's behind it. And that lock, oh, no, there's a pretty big gap right here. All right, that's pretty much got rid of the whites. All right, so now we can grab this guy's name. Pretty sure I went to AIT with a guy named Pruitt. That's where I remember that name from. So I spent like 3 months. I didn't really like the dude. I spent like 3 months having to fuck with this dude named fucking Pruitt. I think he was the platoon guy on the other side. He was a dick. If I remember. I don't think his name was Greg, and he was way the fuck bigger than this guy. All right, boom. So, boom, there. One more time. Next, Dave Workman. Maybe I don't have that many because I already did Dave Workman. I'm almost positive. Boom, Dave Workman. Then we got John Henry, which I think I already have done also. You're one of the people that'll go in there and buy the cartoons over on the your website store, and I don't wait around for people to buy them. necessarily, so I just have them in there. But I went in and double checked that whoever had purchased one, I wanted to make sure that actually I'm not missing any, right? That I'm not. See, but I already did most of these. This guy, I do need to redo though. So I'm gonna open a new tab, grab that image, drop it on this slide, or what is this? Drop it on this layer. Why the F is it got a black background? So let me copy this image and what? Makes no sense at all. What's up with that? I wonder why it's doing that. Weird. I'm not familiar with that. Why it's doing that. Anyway, so now we'll low fidelity that. Ugh. Taking over. High fidelity it. Ugh. What I can do. Open it. Make it really big. Really big. Really big. And then low fidelity it. Ugh. Oh, that's what I'm going to have to do because I'm not going to redo this whole thing. Damn, that looks worse. Let me 16 color. 6 color it. No, that's bad. So that looks like Matt from NEA. He had hair. He was happy. I've seen him happy before. Let's see. So shit. So I guess I got to do this one over again. That blows butts. So let me see if I can do this. Look at that. How clear that's coming in at 300%. Shit. Gotta go down to 300 and print this screen. So now I just printed the whole screen. And this is that Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus I was talking about. All right, so let's get this back down. Let's go back over here. Let's go back to his thing. And now I'm going to paste that whole screen down. Don't be scared. That's how big my screens are. I'm going to crop this all down to there. And now that's about 1 billion times bigger image to drop right here. And now we'll scroll in. And let's image trace that on low fidelity. We'll take that. So expand that. Ungroup it. Did I say ungroup? Yes. Boom, that, bang. And it's as if I drew it again. Now I can group that bitch. I can expand it. Because I don't know what it is, but I have to do it all the time. And boom, I can export this shit out of there with his name. But I'm pretty sure I didn't have this guy over here. We'll find out. Nope, I did not. Boom. That worked. So even though I already drew him, I had lost the image, so I had to redraw him. And instead of redrawing him, I faked it. It's easier than doing stuff twice. But now there's not even anybody watching this. That's the kind of quirking that happens to us. Real shows.
That's awful.
Legit shows. Instead of being whack, whackness gets the these areas. All right, so then we got Dr. George Thompson. Dr. George Thompson. Oh, this guy. So there is kind of old George Thompson. This is what I consider old George Thompson, like the videotape versions, maybe of George Thompson. Oh, come on. There's too many George Thompsons. So, So then you get your young version and your old version. I'm more a fan of the purple shirt ones, so let's see if I can get a purple shirt version of them. Maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. Doesn't look like it. That's weird. You'd think there'd be more pictures. All right, I guess we'll go with this one. You know, a shitty old kind of version of it. Boom. And a couple of Bob Morrison in, make sure that their heads are about the same size. Ish. Get rid of Bob Morse. Copy paste that guy. Fade this one down about halfway. Lock it. Couple more layers. I already have his name, so. Color. I'll have one line. So now we can mark that. Start drawing. I don't know this guy, but I've seen enough of his videos before that I feel like I know him. But this is also like some weird old version of him. Yeah, this ain't gonna look much like him.
All right, I finally got my window to work.
You talking about on the phone or on the computer?
What was that, G?
You talking about on a phone or on a computer?
On my phone. I don't have a computer still. It's on the to get list. That way I can, one, hopefully have better audio and things like that when I come on and join you. And just in general, when I'm making videos, hopefully have a better production value. But haven't gotten around to getting a computer yet. Seems like there's always some ammo sale that my local shop will do, or there's a gun that catches my eye. I'm like, well, everything's working fine on the phone still. And then, you know, there's a new gun or, like I said, ammo that I end up purchasing instead. But I really do need to buckle down and invest in a computer, like I said. That way I can have some better quality to my videos and hopefully get some better audio going and things like that.
like I said, I don't know this guy, but I've seen him too many times that I'm not going to be happy with this one. This line is driving me nuts. All right, make him a color.
Ears look a tad bit pointy.
Are you saying stuff? I'm really garbled. Am I still here? Well, maybe I'm having connection issues. If there's anybody, yeah. I don't know if I heard you or if I didn't hear you or if you didn't say it. You hear me?
I was saying, is it just me, or do his ears, or ear, I should say, look a little pointy?
Super sticking out there in the middle of the air. He looks like King and I. That's what I think. You ever seen that show? I think it's maybe it's a movie. Probably a movie too. But whoever that is in the King and I, he looks like the King.
Talking about, but I cannot think the show.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's a movie. A Broadway play type of thing. It might have been made into a movie though. They got taken to a couple of like Broadway plays, I guess, whatever you call it, like the stage play. Kid. I don't think it was Broadway because I don't think it was on Broadway. But I always thought it was weird because you'd go to some place,
Yeah.
and I'd be like, "Hot damn, this is the place the circus was." Like, hot damn, we're going to the circus because I didn't know where the hell I was going. I was a little kid half the time, right? So I'm like, "Oh man, we're going in this building where the circus is." And then you get in there, and it's like a bunch of people singing and dancing around for way too long. It's like, what the hell was this scam?
So we actually still have a theater in my hometown that does plays and things like that.
What are you watching Honda over there? You know, he doesn't he's going to send out signals. They're going to be bad. Oh, look, he's even dropped out. He's not even. Now it says he's a Viking. He's here now, right? That does not look like this dude at all. You're back in here, but it says you're not. Oh no, it says you're muted. that's why maybe it's not looking right, because I missed his beard and shit. What the hell? No, he doesn't have a beard in this one. Maybe that's why he looks weird. I don't know, Barbecue, if you're in here, you're muted and we're not hearing shit. Yeah, that's what it is. When he's younger, he's got a big ass mustache. So that's who's got a big ass mustache on his face. This guy. Now Barbecue's gone again. So you're in here again. Something must be going on with your phone, I guess. There, I think that looks better. That's what I'm expecting the guy to look like. Some kind of a beard or mustache having dude with bald head. I'm not even hearing static or nothing from you this time, Barbecue. Before we were hearing static at least. There, I like that. So now I'm going to try darkening that up a little bit. There we go. That'll work. Now that looks a little bit more like him than it did before. And now we'll go back to his name. And we'll export that one as it is. And I like to get rid of the period in my file names. So export and boom. Looks a million times more like him now. I think it's all about having that kind of like, what the fuck did you say, eyebrow? And that big ass New York looking cop stash. All right. Now we got John Henry, Dave Berkman are done and done. And John or Jeff Cooper. No, Jeff Cooper either.
Sorry about that, Jay. I don't know what the heck happened. I went from having perfect signal to hardly anything.
Yeah, you're fine now. All right. This one's probably the most familiar, but I was thinking this one would be pretty good. I've never seen this one before. Doesn't quite look like them as much though. You definitely got to go something from Insight Days. Yeah. So I guess I'm going to go with this one. Everybody knows. So So then try to find big. 200, 200, 300, 300, 360. None of these are big. This face his head in here again. What was I using? I was using Rob Morse. So what has Rob Morse got going on here? It's on this. What is this? Something locked here. Why can't I? Apparently, whatever this is. So I'll just. Yes. Okay. Shit going on. All right, so now we can lock that. We can turn back on Cooper. They're at about the same size. Close enough. Um,
Now that is a fancy hat.
all right, so. What the hell happened there? Where's this guy again? All right, maybe not. So, maybe I guess. Right, well, whatever. It seems kind of light to me, but oh, I know what it is. It's because I've been using that. Use a different tool, you're gonna get a different stroke, whatever that's called, like thickness or brush stroke. It was freaking me out because it was thinner, but it's because I was using a different tool. And for this kind of stuff, I think I'd just rather stay using the same tool for the consistency. Them in the eye.
Marshmallow Dreaming?
She's sad because we're recording. She's a puppy. She's not used to it. She doesn't understand.
Maybe that's why my dog was just growling in his sleep. It's because of getting corked so hard.
Dogs can tell. Sure, they're quirking this show, but they're also being mean to a puppy. But whatever. They don't care about the Second Amendment. Guns. Freedom.
Don't care about puppies, animal rights.
Animal rights, are you kidding? They laugh at that stuff.
It's the worst kind of humans.
Just shut up.
So who is this that you're drawing this right now?
Clint Smith?
Yeah.
Clint Smith. Or excuse me, Jeff Cooper. So Jeff Cooper is a Marine, and then after the Marines, he went to be a cop, I believe. And then he was involved in the competition shooting that evolved into the practice or the, I guess you could say practice of like skill set or practice of retaining skill set. So instead of just having a competition to shoot bullseye or to shoot marksman or to shoot at distance or something, or maybe some sort of weird, there was probably, when you shoot the Olympics, there's something about technique and style and shit that is part of the competition. Except for safety or whatever, they were shooting more to like be practical, like shoot in a way that is useful for concealed carry or for your job if you carry a gun. And then that evolved into IPSC or international pistol shooting. So IPCA or whatever it is, IDPA now. No, IPSC. IDPA came later. So anyway, in 1975, he was one of the people that turned it into, he was one of the people that was capable and foundational in the evolution of guns from just like across the battlefield type of practice to like hand-to-hand combat type of practice to taking that hand-to-hand from maybe like spies and commando units to like regular people to like cops and to anybody who carries a pistol. So until there was pistols, there was no pistol fighting, right? So once there was pistols and people started to write down what pistol fighting was all about, then people could actually evolve it. And he's one of the people that evolved. He's not one of the first people to write it down. That would be the Marines that were, well, not the Marines, but the guys that taught the Marines. Fairbairn and Applegate. Those guys created all the stuff. This is one of the guys that learned all that stuff and then helped transition it out to the civilian world and then additionally into shooting. So then in addition to all that, he started Gunsight. So for people that were going to either shoot competition a lot or carry, similar but different, but similar need to practice or similar reasons to learn and then practice. So he created facilities that would allow, practice and learning, all of that, plus all the stuff that just kind of dismissing all the long range stuff and all that for hunting. He's certainly involved in all that stuff too. So if you ever heard of a scout rifle, that's him. And the 4 basic safety rules that we all talk about: keep your finger off the trigger, know where your gun's pointed, know what your target is and what's behind it, and make sure everything's unloaded. That's him. That came from him. Until 1970 or whatever, everybody was just doing whatever the hell they wanted with guns. He helped kind of establish a school and the idea of a curriculum. Again, there was, at some point, there was just like, you just learned this, like ironing. You just learned it by watching your parents. Like, he helped. He was one of the first people to like write it down and then be involved in the creation of the infrastructures that eventually would ingrain that stuff to be the culture that we have today. So foundational. I don't know how to explain it any other way. It would be like, you know, Ford or Chevy in the cars. I don't know, is Chevy a person? He would be like Ford or like Porsche or somebody. Like, he's a key player in the whole guns thing.
Yeah, I had no idea. That's pretty awesome.
So this picture here is probably from when he's over in Africa, and he would probably, I think he would shoot like at a, I don't know, like a water buffalo or something. And then if the water buffalo was like, no, not today, I'll kill you. And then it would start running at him, or him and his guide or whoever. Then he's like, oh shit, I need a gun that can follow up and then drop a giant, one of the largest mammals on the planet that's mad at me because I already shot it once. And it's not dead from that, right? So that's where he came up with basically a 308 scout rifle. So a 308 gun that can drop some of the largest mammals that are mad at you. And then, oh yeah, that just also happens to be like a super effective fighting rifle. It's not perfect, but it's, you know, for the 1970s or whatever, it was a pretty decent thing.
Yeah. Kind of curious what's going on. I've got fire sirens going off for the last couple minutes now.
Still watching Honda, probably alert or something. Like, what they'll do is they'll call. You know, you ever heard of this thing where if you get COVID, what they'll do is they'll start calling all your friends and stuff and be like, hey, if you ever like mouth kiss that guy, and then that's what's happening. You're watching Honda over there, so they call the fire department out just to surround your house, just, you know, for your safety or whatever. Surround your house for a little while.
I'm about to get swatted or something. That's what it's going to be.
No, it's just in case. It's just in case. It's not like you're guilty of anything. It's just that, you know, they know to be on the safe side. Just if somebody's watching that show. A bunch of fire trucks and police department and stuff hanging around.
Oh shit! Somebody commented, huh?
10 millimeters, the most powerful mass-produced semi-automatic pistol cartridge. Thanks to Jeff Cooper. Snap, dude! I totally forgot. Thanks. He's also, why can't I think of the name? The 10 millimeter. Cowboy will know it. Slim will know it. Why can't I think of the damn name? What's the 10 millimeter pistol he made? Is it the Raven? No. God damn it, I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, yeah, he was a petitioner. I don't know what the word is, but he really wanted people to step up to 10 millimeter instead of 9 millimeter bullshit.
So if it wasn't for this Jeff Cooper guy, we wouldn't have 10 millimeter then.
No, he was just an advocate. He saw that as cool and useful.
Yeah, so he just saw how much better it was and was advocating for it.
Well, he made a gun. I can't remember the name of the gun right now.
Yeah.
But it never went anywhere. But it was in Miami Vice. That's why everybody knows the gun.
Oh, all right.
Miami Vice is this TV show about Miami and Vice that happened
They did a bunch of cool shit with wearing sunglasses and driving boats, and I remember when I was a wee little kid, my grandmother watching it.
So that's the one that the main dude, carried around all the, well, not for all the time. And eventually, I think he started carrying it. I can't imagine. I can't remember. Is it Crockett? In tubs? Yeah, Crockett in tubs. The Bren 10. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't think of it for the longest time. I had it right up there. But anyway, he came up with this gun called the Bren, which was pretty badass. It's basically high power, but for 10 millimeter instead of maybe 9 millimeter. And, well, it was just too much for everybody, basically, including the manufacturer of the gun. Like, it couldn't be itself apart type of gun, from what I understand. Or from what I remember. Yeah, I think I'll go green or something, just so he has a different color. I have no idea what color he liked to wear. Yeah, nobody would wear that. That might work. All right, that's definitely not the best image of them, but I think it kind of works. I don't know what color his eyes are, but they probably weren't dead ass brown, so I'm gonna go with.
I think it looks pretty good.
I don't remember actually seen him in color ever, so.
Yeah.
Looks a little younger than that picture, but I still think it looks enough like him to get the point across. But you're yawning, and that was it. Boom, boom. I got a bunch of them done tonight, and we stood up to the corking of Honda, who acts like he's so good, and he continues to cork everybody. So, so there. Anyway, yeah, there's nobody out there, so I'm just talking to myself. Thanks for jumping in the barbecue, having a chat.
Yeah.
And